All right. Good evening, everybody. You are checking out our Philly live show. And of course, we are live from our studios in the Overbrook Farm section of Philadelphia. And of course, as always, we have with us our guests, and our co-host, Mr. Van Stone. Van, how you doing tonight?
All right, so everyone, welcome to Philly Live, and of course this is Thursday in Philadelphia, and the temperature is like 200 degrees. Well, it feels like it's 200 degrees, I'm telling you, but all over the country it's like in the 90s everywhere. So welcome to the show. I'm Van Stone, the face behind the voice. Of course, we have our co-host today, Whitney Hickson. She's with us.
Hi.
That's our chef. What's up, Whitney?
Hello.
And of
Always
course,
a pleasure.
yes, of course. And of course, we have Jerry Wilson, the man's on the board, who runs everything. So, give a shout out to all of our, I'm going to say our states, Virginia, Texas. We're really all over. But I really want to bring in a good topic today. We're going to talk about what's actually happening with the election, the presidential election between Biden and Trump. And I think we really need to discuss it in detail. And I want everybody to really just go at it because there's a lot of updates going on. Of course, I am the number one professional political analyst here. But at the same time, just because I'm a professional, that does not mean that I have all the answers. So before I say that, let's bring back the update. The great update is that we have opened up the center, the Van Stone Center here in West Philadelphia. Everybody who wants to really get with us at 5037 Walnut Street, second floor. And we're going to have resource services at this center. One of the things that we're going to have, a lot of people may not notice about me, but I think Jerry knows this about me, and Whitney knows this about me, that I'm pretty much what's called the herbal guru, the health guru. I think I'm pretty good at that because most of the time when I give, I'm going to say we have to use the right word because I'm not a medical doctor. You have to be careful. I don't even know if it's right to say advice, but I do definitely know that when you use different methods for health, such as herbs, you do pretty well. So one of the things at the center, if people are interested in learning about their health, they can contact me. We can have a meeting there, and we can bring you up to speed, especially dealing with medical health conditions. We talked about that the last time we had the show. Other than that, well, we're going to have some cooking. We have Whitney Hickson here with us, so we can do some cooking workshops and things like that. So give us a call, 610-803-1624, 610-803-1624. If you're interested in some of the services and resources we have at the Van Stone Center, the new center. Now, let's get into what's actually happening. Today, President Biden, he may be finishing up a conference based on this whole NATO thing that was happening in our country. But a lot of people are scared. And it's the Republican fight against the Democrats and talking about fight for democracy. I'm just going to give you the brief so people who are watching the show may really be able to catch up. I'd like to get a couple of your views. First of all, I'm going to throw it to you, Jerry, and then I'll throw it to Miss Witt, and we're going to go around and really talk about what's happening right now. Because at this point, I've never seen a political party where they want to actually throw the candidate out of the race. And the race is not even here. It's 4 months from now, and already the party that is the Democratic Party, they want to throw Biden out of the race. So what's your thoughts, Jerry?
Well, that's interesting. Just the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. I'll say this. The Republicans, they're crap, but at least they stand by their person to the end. Whereas the Democrats, the first sign of trouble, get him out. He's not going to win. Get him out. That's not good because the only thing that they're doing by doing that is basically ensuring Trump's victory. Now, it's ridiculous to even talk about putting another candidate up because the DNC convention is like a month and a half away. There's no way that they could put somebody else up there and give them the momentum, donations, campaign contributions to actually push them to victory within a 4-month period. So I don't know what you guys' opinions are, but we're stuck with Biden, basically. And if you put anybody else up there, Trump's definitely going to get back in. That's
Wow.
my opinion about that.
What you think, Whitney?
Well, I mean, Mr. Sam, I say some really things I shouldn't be saying, but from what I heard, that debate was a shit show.
Okay.
And one thing that stands out of that I'm sorry, I'm looking around, make sure no cops are looking at me. I'm sorry about that. I'll be quick. But one thing about the debate that bothered me was when Trump said, and they keep putting this out there, the Mexicans are taking the black people jobs.
Okay.
What are black people jobs? Because I could have sworn that we're in every profession that is out there. So what is a black person job?
Yeah, what is a black person job? You know?
And even, I mean, the fact that I think, people don't understand how serious it is if Trump is in office. He's not going to be called the president. He's going to be called the king. And
Right.
there's a difference between a president and a king. And it's just a shame that, I mean, I feel sorry for Biden. You know what I mean? But I'd rather have him in office than a convicted felon that thinks it's okay to commit crimes and brag about it.
Right. Right. Okay.
Well,
I'm
and
trying
the
to
bad thing.
understand
Oh, go ahead.
why these professionals, the Democrats, they don't know anything about politics, and this exposes it. So what everybody should be really looking at is you voted for these people, and you just keep voting for them again and again and again, and then they come out and say, well, if you don't vote, it's your fault. But now we're starting to see something between Trump and Biden. The whole system is really a sham, and it's corrupt because the Democrats are now showing that they're just there to be there. They don't have any tactics or common sense. For an example, if you already have a person who's the lead and you have the vice president, it doesn't make any sense to panic and say, okay, we need to get him out and pick another person, because if something happens to the president afterwards, the vice president takes over. So I don't, I'm just sitting here like amazed that they're supposed to be professionals, and what they're doing, they just throw everything on the side and they show their true colors, black and white, that they really don't know what they're doing. And this country has always been the same way. So let's go back and forth with that. Either with Whitney, Miss Whitney, or Jerry, either one.
Well, yeah, that does kind of show the true colors of some of the Democrats, because it's kind of, well, we know they're all racist, basically. Let's just be honest. And now they're looking at, we need a replacement. Well, what about the vice president? Like Van said, do you not think she's capable of running the country? I think if push comes to shove, I think she would probably do a bang-up job. At least give her the opportunity. So this shows that the Democrats are just as scared of having a black woman in the seat of president as the Republicans. So it's the
Yes.
same difference at this point.
Yes.
Go ahead, Whit. Go ahead.
Yep. I totally agree. They're not ready for a black woman to be the head of the house. Even though we always have been, but they're not ready for that. And that's why they keep going over Kamala Harris. I've seen Josh Shapiro, which I believe he's our governor now, and he was thinking about running for presidency. Me, knowing his background, he's a good candidate. I think he should maybe think about it the next 4 years. But, they're not looking at Kamala Harris. And that's a shame. They're not thinking it has a race thing to do with it. We don't want a black woman in the office yet. And we don't want to see it. And I want to see it. I would love for it to happen, because between her, Obama, Michelle Obama, even Oprah in some aspects, 'cause Oprah used to be into politics. They're amazing. They would be amazing as president.
Wow. Did you say Oprah Winfrey?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really
Well, you
something.
laughing. She has a great background. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well,
And you know
she
what?
might have a great background. That's true, but that just shows where the country is, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like this is new. The thing is with the politicians in this party. So President Biden, right now, yes, he's a man up in age, but okay, so he had a bad, debate, but he can have another bad debate. The debate really is meaningless. So, in other words, let's say he has another bad debate, or let's say today, after whatever his speech was, he starts fumbling or, stuttering and things like that. It really doesn't matter because he's already the president. So, what does that have to do with if he's not well or something like that? That's why you have a vice president. So, again, can anybody really explain how this is supposed to be common sense according to the Democratic Party? As soon as you see the president running and he doesn't do well in a debate, that means he needs to be replaced. Jerry?
I think Biden should not have done the debate because it does him no good. It did him
Okay.
absolutely no good. So I don't know if they're going to do another one, but if I was Biden, focus on running the country, forget the debates. I know, first of all, Trump is going to just lie all throughout the debate. So that's not really going to do any good. Biden, they're going to try to trip him up on everything like they did the last time. So just don't do it. I don't know what
Okay.
you guys' opinions about that is. And we're about to take a break in a couple of minutes, by the way. But go ahead.
Okay, Whitney, you got something before I come back?
I do. I do agree. He does not need to do no debate. He's all over the place, and I don't know if it's nervousness or, like you said, it doesn't matter of his age. Look how old Ronald Reagan was, and then I'm taking it back in the '80s. He was old, and he was probably doing the same thing that Biden was doing at his age.
Right.
I mean, come on, age shouldn't should matter because we had a couple of young presidents, but we also had a couple old ones.
Right, true. And you know what? Since you brought up Reagan, the fact is that Reagan was worse than Biden 10 times because Reagan already had a few diseases and he had been shot, by the way. So that kind of like caught up with his health. And by the time he was running the country on the sideline, his wife was actually telling him what to say, and so half the time he was there. But the time that he was there, it's just like, if you have a disease or whatever, you might have a bad day. You have an off day. But that doesn't mean that you're not aware of what's really important. And the other thing, Jerry, you made a really good point before we go to break, where you were talking about why in the world was he debating in the first place? I can answer that before we go to the break. So this exposes the Democratic Party. As soon as Trump was sentenced and they knew it was on the way that he would be exposed as a criminal, then the Democratic Party figured they could take advantage of that, and this would be an easy thing to talk bad about him during a debate. But that was just terrible. It just exposed them. They should have said, no, why would we debate you? You're a criminal.
Right.
Exactly. All right, we're going to take this break real quick, and we will be back. That was a really quick break. We are back.
All right. Well, I'm Van Stone. I'm the face behind the voice. Welcome back to the show. This is the Philly Live Show. We're in Philadelphia, of course, it's a Thursday. And it is just a hot day. But all around the country it is. So I'm just reminding everyone who's coming back, really pay attention to our radio station. We're at PhillyFunkRadio.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm telling you, we have some real good music there. We're missing, of course, Alex. Alex, the musician, he's usually here. He does what we call as the icebreaker, and he really has a great voice. And some of the songs are basically selected from the Philly Funk Radio station. But we also have Whitney Hickson here, and, we just talk about food and so forth and so on. Speaking of food, there is a new cooking show, and Whitney is a part of that show with my cousin Ty Terrell. That's a nice show, and we have a follow-up show, which usually happens the next day after this show. So, let's jump back in this subject for a minute. We were talking about politics, just in case somebody's just coming in.
Oh, by the way,
Go
Van,
ahead.
before you start, I wanted to get you and Whitney. How do you like the new studio in the background?
It looks nice. I like it. So up to date.
I'm in our new studio right now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, let's
You're real savvy.
anyway, Van,
I'm so used to you looking good, so
Yeah.
yeah, that really looks good, man. I have a question about this whole thing in politics. So there's this thing, Project 25 or 2025, or are you guys familiar with this so-called big thing they put together, about 100 pages or something like that, dealing with
I'm
politics?
hearing about it,
And
but
they're
basically,
saying,
I'm hearing about it. I got to sit down and I got to look it over. Basically, from what I'm understanding, it's a really radical conservative plan, like all kinds of stuff, like basically reforming and reshaping the government. So,
Okay.
like I said, I have to do more research about it. But from what I hear, it's like almost like put together by a conspiracy theorist.
okay.
And what they want to do with the country, including have Trump be lifetime president.
Right.
So-
That's one of the many things. Whitney, you heard anything about it?
No, I haven't heard nothing about it, but
Okay, well
that they try to make him a lifetime president. Wow.
let me tell you about this thing and why they're so worried about it. Matter of fact, well, even on the BET Awards, I don't know if anybody watched that. Taraji B, she actually was the host, and she mentioned that she gave a nice little statement about let's get serious and watch out for this project, so-called 2025. They want to take away everything, basically, for everyone who they know. If you are not considered pure white, then you won't have anything, and that includes the women. So when they're talking about taking away all the women's rights, they're talking about, which is going to be worse than what's happening right now. Right now, the women's rights have been taken away, so we're going all the way back to the time before they could vote. That's now, 2024. They don't care about the kids. Kids will get nothing. The kids will be slaves, just like slavery was actually, brought into this country. So this whole thing is a lie. And this is what they wanted to do when they had the colonies. The colonies were battling not a physical argument against each other or fight, but definitely a disagreement on how the country was going to take place. And so if you're looking for benefits, anything like that, they want to strip all of those things. They want to take the powers away from basically the lower courts, and also when you talk about the Senate and the House and all this other kind of stuff. So it's all going to be on one side. So really, basically, we'll be back to complete slavery the way it was before the country had their so-called independence. Any thoughts on that? Because I got a lot more.
You know, the funny thing is how the conservatives talk about how they love America, but they're trying to dismantle America. Everything, they want to get rid of everything that actually makes this country great. Immigrants, the fact that we have safety nets such as public assistance, welfare, with where you could get food stamps, child care, so that you can work. The fact that we have regulations, the fact that we have unions, they want to take all that away and basically dismantle it. I think there's really, honestly, basically they want to return this to pre-Civil War.
Right.
That's what they want to do. And, I think, like you said, they said we need to start taking this seriously because nobody ever thought that Roe versus Wade would be overturned, but it got overturned. So don't think for a minute. I hear some of these Republicans talking about repealing the 14th Amendment with birthright, where if they're successful, you won't be an American just by
Right.
being born in America. You know, they're trying to repeal everything basically, and it's scary. You know, the thing that I ask some of the people that I work with, and people say that I'm being ridiculous. How does it feel to be living in a time where there's a realistic possibility you may actually be a slave again?
Whit, you got any points? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was very upset when Roe versus Wade got turned over because it's like now you saying it's okay to go ahead and rape somebody and get them pregnant. It's okay for incest to happen. You know, it's okay for us women to get sexually assaulted, get pregnant, and we got to bear this child the rest of his life, know that it was nobody that we gave consensual sex to. And it's a shame. It's a shame that a lot of people are going out of state to go somewhere where they can get abortion.
Right.
And that's serious. Like you're telling women you can't do that to your body. So now I don't have no choices.
Right. Well, from the very beginning, like I said, if you get the history of this whole country is a sham. First of all, when you started with the colonies were basically a group of people who were criminals. That's not the story that's told. So most of the people who came in and started this country were thrown out of the British country. And by the way, the Queen of Britain at that time was a black woman. And they don't tell you about that. So already, what is about to happen is kind of like the same point that you said, Whitney, where they already know if Kamala Harris becomes the black woman president, it's going to bring them back to what it was before this country started. And the facts will all come out because once the black woman president takes place, then she should take the lead and tell them the true history of this country. Just like you can go on TikTok or you can go on any other social media, you hear a lot of scientific facts or fun facts about how this country started. And the truth is that when the British were coming, yeah, they were coming for a reason. Because the people here are these same people who's trying to take all the rights away. That's why this so-called independence happened. They were rebelling against an existing government which is operating the way it is now. That's really the facts that they want to tell. And by the way, does anybody know anything about Benjamin Franklin? Because he's one of the so-called heroes at that time. But what they don't tell you is that Benjamin Franklin had a son who was a governor, and he fought against Benjamin Franklin. That means that the same problems that you're having right now, I guarantee you that there's some Democrats who are fighting against their parents. These Republicans who come up with this crazy thing, there's just an internal war. And most of the war basically is white on white. Mm-hmm. So what you think, Jerry, before I continue?
Well, you're right. I was talking to my mother about this the other day, and her thing was, she said, if Trump does get back in office, it's not going to be immediately felt in like the inner city because he's going to be too busy going after everybody else. We may not even, and I thought about what she said. She said, we basically always been getting screwed over by whether it be Democrat, Republican, or whoever is in office. So we probably won't feel anything, at least in the immediacy, maybe later on down the road. But, her feeling is at this point, it really doesn't matter. So Does anybody agree with that or?
At the end of the day, I do agree with that because it's not going to change our pockets or change our daily lives. It's going to change the system as a whole, our country as a whole. But I'm going to still wake up and make a check because I still got to work. It ain't like, okay, yeah, I am a slave. I've been a slave to society since I started working. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
so
I do agree with her. I do agree with her. It's really not going to change much.
So
Right. This. Go
we
ahead,
have
Jay.
we have a few minutes left, maybe like about 3 or 4 minutes. So I wonder everybody could continue, but just wanted to kind of be mindful of that.
Okay, well, since we have about 3 minutes, let's turn to a positive note. We'll pick up back with this topic next week. Maybe we'll get into it tomorrow in the cooking show. But what positive can we talk about for a minute? You know, what's been good?
Well, what do you real quick? What do you guys think about Sherelle Parker asking the city workers to come back to the office?
I think that's a good idea because they're taking advantage of the stuff. It's hard for you to get in touch with people. Like me working at a homeless shelter, a lot of people at the organizations like OHS, Outreach, they were working from home. So these people that were looking for funding, looking for places to go, they would not be able to get in touch with these people because they're at home saying they're working from home, but they're really not working. They're
Right.
just collecting a paycheck like they did back in COVID. It's
Exactly.
time for them to go back to work and do their job. We need to get this homelessness together. Now, and that's because I'm working in a homeless shelter. I have learned a lot about homelessness. And, you know, we need to get it together. We need to try to, between the homelessness and the opiates, we need to get that and focus on that, as well as other stuff, education and stuff. But our homelessness is getting out of control.
Right.
And OHS is getting all this money, and it's for some reason it keeps disappearing. All of a sudden, now we got money again for rental assistance, utilities, and everything else. You know, but how long that's going to last? Because they just put it out maybe a couple of days ago, and it's been out since May 28th, 2024, that they had money to give to the people.
Wow.
And they end up changing her phone number. So now they got a whole new number. So all this time, I'm going to be quick, they they had a number that we kept giving to people. They would never answer it. Now, since they got money, they changed the number up. And, you know, starting all over again. Let's see
Wow.
where that goes.
By the way,
Awesome.
and I get into this on another show, but the Office of Support and Housing is terrible. I had an experience with them like 13 years ago. It was terrible. But my personal opinion about that, yes, the workers do need to go back in. They're getting taxpayer money. They need to be back in the office. I worked during COVID. Remote work was not an option for me. I worked every day during it with maybe about a month off. But the pandemic's been going for what? We're going on 5 years?
Yeah.
Go back to the office. And I actually applaud the mayor for making that decision. Now, people are trying to challenge it, but there's no real challenge to it. You're getting
No,
paid.
go back to
You're
work.
a public sector worker. Go back to the office.
Right. Well, it doesn't matter whether they challenge it or not. The mayor's already made a public statement. She's not going to change her mind. And all those people, you know, who just want to get a check, they still want to have a job. So, you know, we'll try to see what happens with the increase. But I do like what Whitney was saying, information-wise and resource-wise. We do need to continue this topic. I'm glad you brought that up, Jerry. Thanks a lot.
Got you. So we're about to lose our Zoom. So we're going to wrap it up. We're going to have a little video clip that you sent me earlier, Van, and then we're going to go out with a commercial. Just give a brief overview of what we're seeing.
Okay, well, before I do that, go ahead, Whitney, say your last thoughts. Final thoughts? That's what you always say,
My
Jerry?
final thought.
Yeah, final thought. Minute or less.
My final thought is you still, no matter who's in presidency, go out and vote. It is crucial because we don't want another dictatorship. We don't, you know, the Republicans, you know, right now, like everyone said, the Democrats are scared. We need to vote. We need to show the Republicans the Democrats aren't scared. Vote.
All
All
right.
right.
And my final thoughts is this is my birthday shirt on, everybody. My son actually bought me this shirt. He's going to watch this clip, and the video that's going to come in the end is actually he's a filmmaker. So it's going to be real brief, but that's my son. I got to get his name together because he got so many different cool names, and I just want to thank him. Keep up the work. And for you teens out there, you guys can do it. Keep busy. We're here. That's part of the news center too as well. All right, Jerry, that's pretty much it. Back to you.
Last thought. Belated happy birthday.
Happy birthday! I know you
I like
didn't
this
tell
shirt,
nobody.
man.
Sam.
I might wear it every week.
All right, we're gonna go out.
Tell me your birthday.
I know.
All right, we're gonna go out. So I would like to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Let me make sure I get this right, and everybody have a good evening.
All right.
Yay, what she said. You ought to keep your distance. You don't want to mess with me.
Shidai, I know the consequences, but the thing is, I'm from the heroes of the last Q,
I'm telling you, this really isn't a good idea.
and that's why I must do this.
Si los amas tanto como para meterte a buscarlos en el patio de juegos, entonces seguramente visitarás nhtsa.gov/protegidos para comprobar que van en el car seat correcto.